Hey folks, it's Todd from Wayfinder Realty, your host for Sold on Flavor. Today we're going to make an Italian dish famous for a couple different episodes of The Sopranos and Everyone Loves Raymond, and that's Braciole. Now what this is a flat piece of meat, usually a skirt steak or a flank steak. You could even use sirloin, and you basically layer it with a bunch of food, roll it up, and you cook it in a marinara sauce. So this week you actually get two recipes. You're going to get my marinara sauce. We'll start with that first. I'm making it a little thicker than I normally make it for this recipe. And then we'll get into the braciole. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, the first thing with marinara is we want to get some oil in our pot or pan, whatever you use them. Onions. So we're going to let that cook up a little bit. Once that cooks up a little bit, we will then put in we're going to cook the onions. All right, so we'll let that heat up. We'll cook these onions down. Once the onions are cooked, then we add the garlic. Then my ingredient in marinara is always a red wine. So I'm going to open the red wine while these are cooking up. So all that's in here right now is olive oil and onions, diced onions. Don't go high. You don't want to burn the onions. You're not trying to, just low and slow. Add the garlic. And the garlic will cook up fast. Always when you do your onions first, don't do onions and garlic at the same time. You'll burn the garlic. House smells amazing. Pinot Noir. Let that cook down for a minute before I do anything else. Put the wine in before I put the tomatoes in because I want I do want the alcohol to burn down, right, or burn off. So get it on medium-low heat. Just give that a minute there. Goes a can of tomato sauce. Diced tomatoes. And some crushed tomatoes. Give this a stir. And now this just has to simmer. I'm going to add my seasoning too in just a minute. Very simple: salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, and basil. And we'll get going on the main dish. So I've added my spice. It just has to simmer right now. I'll even turn it down a little bit if it starts to bubble. Thing about sauce, you have to keep stirring it. Not continuously, but don't wander off and go do something else. All right. Got some fresh oregano here. Cut that up. Got some fresh parsley. It's all going to be stuffed inside the meat. Parsley, chop this up. Okay, next thing you want to do, you want to just pound the steak flat, right? So like I said, this is a stir steak. I would tell you traditionally this is made with a flank steak. You certainly can use sirloin. We're rolling this up, so we want to get it as thin as possible. Without tearing apart the meat. All right. First thing we do is we put our prosciutto on top. I'm such a fan of prosciutto. And what we're going to do, we're going to put our provolone on. Alright. A couple of the herbs. Again, parsley and oregano. Now some people put raisins in it, pine nuts chopped up, and then we're going to put some Parmesan cheese. All right. There you go. All right, next thing we want to do now is we want to roll it tight. This could take so long. I think I'm going to cut that in half. Okay. Now there's two ways to keep the meat together. You can either use twine, or what I prefer, just because it's easier, and that's to use a skewer. Just make sure you take it out later. All right. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to braise the beef. So give it a little heat. Give that a second heat up. Now I have been stirring my sauce all along here. Olive oil in there. to the second skirt steak. All right, so that's good. All right, so let me take these out real quick. Deglaze the pan. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn that down to low. Put my beef back in. All right. The marinara inside. The clicky clack is Angus. This is dinner time. He smells all this food. Then I'm going to let this simmer for about 3 hours, and I'll touch base with you. All right, this is after 2.5 hours. Okay, here you go. I plated up one of the pinwheels. Hey folks, Todd from Wayfinder Really, your host for Sold on Flavor. Braciole. That's delicious. A meal that should be shared with a friend in your new home. Give me a call. Till next week. Thanks for checking in.